Well, welcome back to another Story Tim, where I tell my favorite stories from my 50 years here on the planet Earth. This story relates to Madagascar. I want to kind of describe what it was like living over there. There on the Tuesdays, they would have what they would call the Rova. And the Rova was in downtown Tana. There was this large open area, probably about a half a mile long and a quarter mile wide, where you would have just a sea of these white tents, and there were people that would just be selling everything that you could imagine down there. You'd go in, like, in Madagascar, it's one of the poorest countries in the world, so never threw anything away. So like you would have guys that all they did was specialize in like cigarette lighters, where, you know, like a regular kind of a Bic lighter that you would do like this. Well, they had figured out that you could actually refill those things by using bug spray. So they would fill them back with bug spray and then sell these things again. Or you might have somebody that all they did was sell, you know, sunglasses that had been repaired, and they'd like put the other thing out there and fix them all up, and you'd have all these different sunglasses. Of course, there were just hundreds of fruit stands and meat markets, just this raw meat just hanging out there in the sun, covered with flies. Not the kind of thing you just want to immediately jump into and get a snack from. There would be some of them that would just have animals. You know, they've got some of the rarest animals on the planet there in Madagascar, but they also have common ones like dogs or cats. And the big thing about, like, when we got a cat there one time, because Ashley wanted a kitty, so we got her a kitty. But the big selling point of that was not how pretty it was or that it was a sweet cat, but that this cat was actually a fisher cat. That the reason that you would buy this cat is because it had been trained to fish. And you could take it down to the river, and the cat would snag a fish and bring it out, and then you would have something to eat. Of course, you know, like I mentioned, Madagascar is one of the poorest places in the world. I will never forget about how, you know, Hari, who was a lady that we hired to come over there and help, you know, clean our house and was a cook and stuff. You know, everybody that, you know, lived in these, you know, in these countries had house help, because, I mean, the unemployment was just staggering. So they didn't like you if you were a Vaza, which is a white person, and didn't have somebody helping you, because that was a means of living. And I can remember that Hari would come to our house, and, you know, she would peel the vegetables and stuff like this, and then she would pick out all of the, like, the vegetable scraps from the drain, and she was putting these in a little plastic bag. And we were asking her, and she said, well, Hari, you know, why are you collecting that? And she says, oh, it's for my soup because I'm so hungry. And we're like, good night, you know. Obviously her you know, living standard raised dramatically once they came and lived for us. And most people really liked working for Americans in particular, because Americans tended to kind of adopt you, you know. I mean, we became part of the family. When I left from Madagascar, actually gave her, I don't know how many bags of clothes to help her start a little store, and you know, gave her, I think it was like for about $500, you could buy enough bricks to buy some land and make your own little house. So we actually had kind of fixed her up in a store and stuff like that by the time we left. But she was a great lady, and I miss Hari. I hope she's doing okay now. If you're watching the internet, Hari, good to see you, amen. Again, it was a very, very poor country. And I can remember one of the times they had, you know, the government had been, you know, the UN or somebody was coming over there saying, you know, you got a bad homelessness area, you know, here in Madagascar. And, you know, they were like, well, no, we don't have homeless. And we're like, well, you know, we're going out there to the garbage dumps, and you've got hundreds of people living in the garbage dump. And, you know, where they had actually gone and they would like dig a hole, you know, made like a kind of a cave in this actual garbage dump outside of Tana, to which the government's reaction was, well, if they've got a home, right, they're living in the garbage dump, so you can't qualify them as homeless. So an amazing thing. And, you know, like you know, it's having some serious problems out there. They're really upset with the government right now, and I hope they can get somebody that can actually help the people, because they're beautiful people, a very warm-hearted, very musical people. Asia actually considers Madagascar to be the furthest Asian country, because even though you would always associate Madagascar with Africa, because it's right off the coast of Africa, the people really are more like Indonesians than they are Africans. I wish Madagascar well, and I hope one day to go back and see my friends there. And that was another Story Tim.